Right, here we go, final night of the Crisis on Earth X crossover. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is my review of part 3 and part 4 of Crisis on Earth X. You can check my part 1 and part 2 reviews, which was uploaded last night. And now we're going to do the reviews for parts 3 and 4. And these episodes, just like the first two parts, were absolutely phenomenal. And I cannot wait to discuss them with you guys. So I'll start off with The Flash Season 4 Episode 8 entitled Crisis on Earth X Part 3, and this opens up where Part 2 left off, where we see our characters, all of our main heroes, on Earth X, and they are actually inside of a concentration camp, or, you know, like the Earth X Nazi concentration camp. And this is awesome because it really shows the harsh reality of this world and how close it is to reality, and it also shows us our first look at Russell Tovey as the Ray. So I'll just discuss the Ray here. Overall, I think Russell Tovey as the Ray was a great casting choice. I think he is excellent in this. He really has great chemistry with all the actors pretty much instantly, especially with Wentworth Miller as Citizen Cold. And also just his powers were very cool, very unique. He was perhaps a little overpowered and maybe not necessary, but he was a very cool character, and I definitely liked his presence in this episode and what he brought to the crossover, and I'm guaranteed that he will show up again, and I'm excited to see him again. Now, also in this concentration camp, we see Earth X Captain Quinton Lance, who is, you know, kind of like the second, he's kind of like the second in command to Oliver in Earth X, and this is really cool. We get to see Paul Blackthorne in his Earth X variant, and this is also quite ironic because obviously Paul Blackthorne is freaked out, or not Paul Blackthorne, but Quinton Lance is freaked out by all this multiple Earth stuff, so to see an actual other version of him from the multiverse is very cool indeed, and he's also a really interesting character on this Earth, and I really like that. And then his interactions with Earth 1 Sarah was very, very cool, because obviously this is his daughter in some way, and you kind of get some hints at his past and also some hints at what was going on with Sarah on Earth X, and it was very, very cool to see that contrast, and it was just a nice little moment too. Now, obviously, a huge part of this episode is revolving around Supergirl, who is being held hostage by Overgirl and the rest of the Reichman in order to get her heart, because Overgirl is actually dying due to some kind of radiation. And so what they do is they are exposing Supergirl to a red sun, which is causing her to be weak, so they can basically cut her open and get her heart out. And this was a very interesting story. I quite enjoyed it, and it was definitely quite intense, that's for sure. Now, this is also the episode where we get to go to the Earth X base, where all of our heroes from Earth X are based, and it was very cool. I really like this scene. This is where the Ray is stationed, and it's also where Citizen Cold is stationed, because obviously we saw how Citizen Cold came in and saved our heroes from the execution, and him and the Ray escape with the rest of our heroes back to this base. And this base is very cool. The base itself is actually the Arrow Cave on Earth X, and I thought that was a nice little tidbit, and a very cool, interesting, different take. And while we are in this base, we get to come across Earth X Windshot. Now, I was very excited to see this. I really like Win on Supergirl, and when I heard he was in this crossover, I was interested to see if it was him or an Earth X variant, and it is his Earth X variant. And he is very cool, and it's very different. He is a lot more gruff, he's a lot more harder, and you can actually see that he is actually a bit more of a damaged person in this world, and he is a determined leader of the freedom fighters. And it was really cool to see a different version of Win. Even aesthetically, he looks very, very different, and I really liked it. We also get to see Leonard Snart as Captain Cold on this Earth, or as he's otherwise known, Citizen Cold, and it was very cool. His outfit was a lot more comic accurate, and it didn't actually look silly, it actually worked. Also, like I say, he's a hero on this Earth, and he's actually really cool because he's still Captain Cold, he still has the mannerisms, but he's still got a very good heart, and you can see that. And I really liked his interactions with the Ray, because obviously you find out that them two are actually together on this Earth, and it was just a very good version of Captain Cold, and I'm glad he's sticking around on Legends for a couple episodes. Now, we find out that there is actually a portal that can take our heroes back to Earth 1, and it's the only way that they can actually get back. And this is very cool, and this is actually the main plot line, but this is where Win, Earth X Win, kind of becomes a bit unlikable, because he is basically so determined to destroy this threat and destroy this portal that he's not really allowing the heroes to go, and people try to convince him, and eventually he does come around, but you don't even see that on screen, which I found a bit misleading. Then we got the huge fight scene, because all these episodes seem to end with a big fight scene, and we got the massive Nazi fortified facility where all of our heroes just storm the place, joined by Citizen Cold and the Ray, and oh my god, the choreography and combat in this was phenomenal. I really love seeing the team up between Captain Cold and the Green Arrow. It was really cool. We haven't really seen Green Arrow be that efficient at fighting for ages, so it was really cool to see that. And also the team up between Leonard and Oliver was awesome. I hope they team up again in the future because it was a very cool dynamic that I did not see coming. Now, moving on to episode 4, or part 4 of the crossover. This is the final episode of Crisis on Earth X. We see it picks up exactly where episode 3 left off, where we see Martin Stein has been shot. And it was kind of a cliffhanger, you know, is he dead, is he not? And then we find out he's not dead, at least not yet. And it was a very emotional moment, and the way it was built up was very cool. But then we do see he is actually still alive, and he is pulled from the wreckage, although he actually gets shot another time in this episode, and it was quite violent for a Legends. So then we get everyone back to Earth 1, and everyone ends up on the Waverider. We have all of our heroes on the Waverider, and we actually see that Martin Stein is not able to get anything from Gideon. He is pretty much dying, and the only way to keep him alive is if he fuses with Jax, and basically Jax is acting as a life support machine for Stein. And this led to a lot of emotional conflict, as some characters knew that Martin was going to die, and if Jax didn't move, Jax was going to die too, and it was very suspenseful indeed. This all leads to easily the most emotional part of the crossover, and one of the most emotional moments in the Arrowverse, where we see Martin Stein say to Jax that he was a father to him, just like Jax said to him last episode, but also Jax was a son to him. And this was an extremely emotional moment because it really leads up to something bigger, and the two actors, Victor Garber and Franz Drama, really just brought it home with those performances, and that scene and the dialogue just all came together beautifully. We then see Martin ask Jax to leave him to die, and this was really emotional. This is the death that we were sort of teased about. We knew someone was going to die in this crossover, and it was Martin Stein. Jax has to let him go. Martin takes the separation serum that Cisco gave him in episode 2, and oh my god, I was bawling. I swear to god, I was literally full on tears, crying, and I teared up and cried 3 separate times, and I'll get to them when we get to in the episode. We then see all of our heroes stood in a hero pose on the Waverider, and they are all formulating the plan that they don't even care now. They're all just saying, right, Oliver just stands up and he says, right guys, we're taking this fight and we're gonna win. We're not gonna, failure is not an option. We are going to win, and we're going to defeat these guys. We're going to kill them if we have to. And it was just insane, and it was such a cool moment to see all of our heroes in line like that together, and Oliver just acting as the leader was so perfect. Phenomenal. Then we do have the fight, and it was under the bridge, and we see all of our heroes fighting loads of Nazis and also the Reichman. This was amazing. It even tops last year's fight scene, which I thought was incredible, and now we get to see all of our heroes. It's just pretty much the same sort of thing, but with more characters and even better stunt choreography, and it was fantastic to see all of our heroes fighting side by side like that from all of our favourite shows, and it was such a well done scene. There's so much going on in it, and you have to applaud the team for that. During this fight, we also see most of the Reichman get killed. I mean, we see that Overgirl was obviously going to basically implode, causing a massive destruction. So Supergirl flies straight into space, and she explodes above the Earth, that was her gone. And then obviously Oliver were fighting each other one-on-one, and basically when Earth X Oliver sees that Supergirl or Overgirl is dead, he basically becomes weak, and Oliver shoots him straight through the heart, and that's it, he's dead. And Reverse Flash manages to get away, of course. And then we have the final scene, which I really was not a fan of. I mean, it's the wedding between Barry and Iris, which was fine, I didn't mind that, and they brought in Diggle for the final part of the crossover, which was cool, but then they completely ruin it by having the Olicity wedding that we all kind of knew was coming. It completely ruins the scene, makes everything feel kind of underwhelming. It was kind of a really bad end to an amazing 4 episodes. This episode really this crossover has ruined Olicity for me this season, and it was a very underwhelming end overall. On the whole, though, these 2 episodes were an amazing finale to probably the best thing to happen to the Arrowverse in a very long time. This crossover is head over heels better than the last year's, and I love last year's. And this one just tops it in every single way. Despite that underwhelming ending, I can look past it because everything else in this crossover was truly fantastic, and all the characters worked so well. Some of them did lack a little bit, I think Legends was kind of lacking the most, but this was an amazing crossover. I couldn't have asked for more. So what did you guys think of the crossover? Tell me in the comment section below. I'm really excited to see and have a good discussion with you guys about this crossover. I'm probably going to do a full review of all of the crossover together. These are just my individual episode reviews. So tell me what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.